There are moments in human connection that go far beyond what words can ever reach. A space opens where language becomes unnecessary, where something invisible yet deeply real passes between two people. It's not just about the physical act or the closeness of bodies. It's something that touches the edge of the soul. There's a pulse, an exchange, a current of emotion and energy that feels like both a beginning and an ending at the same time. It can feel powerful and fragile, sacred and raw. In that moment, something ancient and mysterious unfolds, something that cannot be fully explained by biology or simple attraction. The question then arises, what is actually happening deep inside the human psyche, especially within a man's inner world, in that fleeting instant of release and surrender? To find an answer, we must move past the surface of the physical act and step into the inner world where psychology meets the mystery of being. Using the insight of Carl Jung, we can begin to see that what happens in such moments is not only physical, but deeply symbolic. Jung's work gives us a way to explore what unfolds beneath awareness, the movements of the unconscious, the hidden emotional forces that shape every true encounter. Through his ideas, we can enter the three deep layers that a man might pass through in such an experience: the surrender of the ego, the meeting with the inner feminine, and the touch of a timeless creative force that Jung called the archetypal. These aren't abstract ideas. They describe the invisible structure of one of the most intimate experiences a human being can have. To truly grasp what happens in such moments, we need a new kind of language, one that doesn't belong to science or poetry alone, but to something in between, a language of symbols, feeling, and psychological truth. Jung believed that the human mind is like an iceberg floating on a vast sea. The conscious part, what we identify as me, is only the small, visible tip. Beneath it lies a massive and powerful field called the unconscious, a hidden world made of instincts, memories, forgotten experiences, and emotional patterns. Even when we are not aware of it, it silently shapes our choices, desires, fears, and the people we are drawn to. You can imagine it as the difference between seeing the crest of a wave and understanding the entire ocean that moves beneath it. We live most of our lives on that surface, thinking that what we see and think is all there is. But sometimes, in moments of high emotion, love, passion, or even pain, the deeper waters rise up and touch the surface. In those rare moments, we feel something larger than ourselves moving through us. It's as if for a brief instant, the boundaries of our separate self loosen and something eternal peers through. One of the most fascinating and essential figures in a man's inner world, according to Jung, is what he called the Anima. The Anima is not a spirit or a fantasy woman, but the inner feminine aspect of a man's psyche. It represents his capacity to feel deeply, to empathize, to connect, to dream, and to create. It is the bridge between his conscious mind and the hidden world of emotion, imagination, and soul. The Anima is the root of his ability to love and to relate, not only to others, but also to life itself. Yet, because the Anima lives in the unconscious, a man rarely knows her directly. Instead, she reveals herself through projection. That means he unconsciously places the qualities of this inner feminine onto women in the outer world. This is why falling in love can feel so mysterious, so overwhelming, even fated. He looks at a woman and feels something more than desire. He feels recognition, a pull that cannot be explained. What he is really seeing is not just her, but the reflection of his own hidden soul. Through her, he meets parts of himself that he has never known. She becomes, in his eyes, almost magical, the living symbol of everything that feels alive, mysterious, and deeply meaningful. But this isn't a lie or an illusion. It's how the psyche communicates. Projection is the way the inner world tries to make itself visible through the outer world. It's how the unknown within becomes known. These deep images and forces like the anima don't arise randomly. Jung believed they come from something far older and more universal, the realm of the archetypes. Archetypes are the ancient blueprints of human experience, the patterns that shape the way we think, dream, love, and create. They are not fixed images, but living potentials inside the human mind. Just as our bodies carry the DNA of our ancestors, our psyches carry these timeless structures. The mother, the hero, the wise old man, the trickster, the lover, the creator. They are symbols that appear in myths, dreams, and stories across every culture and every age because they belong to the collective human soul. You can think of an archetype as the invisible riverbed that gives shape to the flow of a river. The water is our personal experience. The riverbed is the universal pattern guiding its direction. When we come into contact with an archetype, the experience feels charged, larger than life, luminous, sometimes even sacred. That is why love, creativity, or passion can feel like something divine is moving through us. We sense that the moment is not just ours, it belongs to something eternal that has always existed in the human heart. The bridge that connects these inner archetypes with the outer world is projection, one of the most mysterious and yet everyday functions of the mind. Projection means that we unconsciously see parts of ourselves in others. We do this constantly, when we instantly like someone, when we feel irritated without reason, when we idealize or reject. We are not just responding to the other person, we are seeing a reflection of our own unconscious content. In intimacy, this mechanism becomes even stronger. When two people come close, physically and emotionally, the walls of the ego soften, and the hidden parts of the psyche begin to surface. The body becomes a stage where invisible inner dramas play out. A man in such a moment is not only with his partner, he is also unknowingly encountering his own anima, the feminine soul within and through her, touching the archetypes that live in the depths of his being. The woman becomes the mirror through which he sees the divine pattern of love, creation, and surrender that has always existed inside him. This makes the experience not merely personal, but transpersonal, beyond the individual self. It's why some moments of intimacy can feel sacred, as though time itself has stopped. It's as if for a heartbeat, two human beings become instruments through which the universe remembers its own unity. To understand how deeply this affects the psyche, we must return to the first layer, the ego. The ego is the everyday self, the identity we carry to function in the world. It maintains boundaries, makes choices, and tries to keep control. It is necessary and valuable, but it is also limited. During ordinary life, the ego constantly manages how we appear, how we speak, how we perform. But at the peak of intimacy, that structure begins to dissolve. This moment demands surrender, not only of the body but of the mind's need to control. The ego must let go. It's the moment when thinking stops, when the inner voice asking, "Am I doing this right?" finally fades into silence. What remains is pure experience, a state of being rather than doing. The person is no longer watching himself from the outside. He has become the experience itself. This surrender can feel frightening because it is the death of control. Yet it is also profoundly freeing. It's the moment of trust, trust in the partner, in the feeling, in life itself. This loss of control, this giving up of the ego's command, has been called in many cultures la petite mort, the little death. It's the symbolic death of the separate self, the dissolving of the boundaries between me and you. In that brief collapse, something larger comes alive. It's as if the man disappears for a moment, only to return renewed, lighter, more open, touched by something greater than himself. When this experience is understood symbolically, it becomes more than a moment of pleasure. It becomes a spiritual experience, a reminder of our connection to the larger rhythms of life and creation. The act becomes a mirror of the eternal dance between opposites, masculine and feminine, consciousness and unconsciousness, life and death. And within that dance, the psyche finds healing, meaning, and renewal. Because in truth, what happens in these moments is not just about two people. It's about the timeless story of how human beings seek wholeness. The meeting of lovers becomes the meeting of inner worlds, the conscious and the unconscious finding a way to recognize each other. It's the psyche's way of saying, you are not divided, you are one. And perhaps that is why such moments leave us changed. Even if nothing is spoken, even if the world outside remains the same, something inside us is never quite as it was before. For an instant, we have glimpsed what it feels like to be whole, to be both human and divine, body and soul, light and shadow, all at once. It's important to understand that this death is not literal. It's a fleeting, symbolic ending, a temporary dissolution of the isolated self. For just a moment, the invisible walls that normally separate one person from another fall away. There is a sense of merging, of oneness, where the boundaries of individuality soften. In that instant, a man experiences a glimpse of what it feels like to exist beyond the constant pressure of his ego, beyond the demands of his personal identity. It is a tiny taste of non-being, a brief release from the burdens of separation and control. And like any death, even a small one, it carries consequences. It leaves an imprint, subtle yet profound, shaping the feelings and behavior that follow. After such an experience, there can emerge a strong need for connection, a desire to hold and be held, to reaffirm the intimacy and trust that was just forged in that vulnerability. Simultaneously, there can also arise a natural urge for solitude, a retreat inward as the ego quietly reconstructs its boundaries, processing the shock of its own temporary disappearance. This retreat is not avoidance or failure. It is a recalibration, a necessary adjustment after touching a state of consciousness so far removed from ordinary, separate existence. It is the psyche's way of returning to balance, integrating the intensity of what was glimpsed before it into the ongoing flow of life. Yet this moment of surrender is never only about the self. It is also a doorway to a deeper relational dimension, one where the encounter becomes more than the interaction between two individuals. In this space, a man's projection of his inner feminine, his anima, is not just an abstract psychological concept. It becomes tangible reality. In the heightened vulnerability of intimacy, the anima is experienced outwardly through the partner. He is not merely with another person. He is connecting with the essence of the feminine itself, as it exists within his own psyche. The woman embodies the qualities of the unconscious feminine, the source of creativity, nurturance, mystery, and the very spark of life. She becomes simultaneously a partner, a mirror, and a sacred vessel, channeling a presence that is timeless, universal, and profoundly meaningful. This is why these moments can feel transcendent. The energy present goes far beyond the simple connection of two human bodies. On an unconscious level, the encounter is sacred. It resonates with universal patterns that have existed since the beginning of human consciousness. The experience often feels like a return to the source, a homecoming to a place of safety, nourishment, and acceptance. There is an echo of the primal bond to the mother, yet it is transformed and deepened by adult intimacy. It is a symbolic return to the womb, not in a literal sense, but as a state of being that is regenerative, nurturing, and filled with mystery. Within this space, the act itself becomes something greater than pleasure. It becomes an offering, a pouring of the self, both literally and symbolically, into a vessel of life, connection, and creation. This act is not mediated by conscious reasoning. Instead, it is an instinctual recognition of the immense creative power embodied by the partner. In that moment, the man acknowledges and participates in a force that is fundamentally feminine, a power capable of receiving, nurturing, and bringing forth life. This unconscious awareness elevates the act from the purely physical to the mythical. It becomes a ritual that humanity has enacted since the very dawn of consciousness, a timeless dance between giving and receiving, creation and transformation. Beyond the surrender of the ego and the relational projection of the anima, there is a third layer that extends even further, touching something ancient, universal, and archetypal. This is the moment when the experience transcends the two individuals entirely. It reaches into a realm that can feel sacred, timeless, and numinous. In this state of release, a man often, without conscious thought, connects with one of the most fundamental archetypes, the creator. This archetype is not about ego or personal pride. It represents a participation in the fundamental impulse of life itself, the drive to create, to generate, to bring something new into existence from the void. In that fleeting instant, the man becomes more than an individual. Psychically, he acts as a conduit for the same creative force that shapes galaxies, grows forests, and sustains life. He aligns instinctively with the role of the life-giver, the generator, the one who plants the seed from which worlds can emerge. This connection is not cognitive. It is felt as a wave of raw, potent meaning, infusing the act with a gravity and significance that words cannot capture. The archetypal dimension turns a simple, intimate moment into a brush with the sublime. It offers a glimpse behind the ordinary veil of life, allowing a sense of participation in a force far larger than oneself. This is not arrogance or inflated self-importance. On the contrary, it is humbling. The man feels both powerful and small at once, aware that he is part of a creative process that has been unfolding for eons. The awareness can be awe-inspiring, even shocking, a recognition that he is momentarily entwined with the eternal flow of life and creation. It is this sense of sacredness and stillness that often follows moments of intense intimacy, leaving behind a profound sense of wonder and reverence. The act is stripped to its essence, the terrifying and beautiful potential to bring forth life, to touch the eternal, to participate in something that has existed long before him and will continue long after. Yet, as with all immense power, this archetypal energy carries shadows. The same wave that brings awe and transcendence can also awaken fear and responsibility. To encounter the creator archetype is to also brush against the anxieties of inadequacy, imperfection, and the immense weight of potential consequences. Questions can flash through consciousness, fleeting yet powerful. Am I a good creator? Is my essence strong, viable, meaningful? These fears can resonate on multiple levels, as a lover, as a protector, as a provider, and as a potential father. There is also the sudden awareness of the partner's role in this creative act. The potential outcomes of life itself, or the continuation of creative energy, reside within her, amplifying the sense of responsibility and vulnerability. The intensity of this recognition can be overwhelming. It is natural for the ego to seek refuge afterward, retreating into solitude to process what has just occurred. The psyche must integrate the shock of having glimpsed something so vast, potent, and formative, an experience that stretches beyond ordinary human understanding, touching the eternal threads of existence itself. It is a confrontation with the deepest responsibilities, burdens, and expectations that come with being a man. The awareness of playing a part in a force far larger than oneself, a force that creates and sustains life. After such an intense, multi-layered experience, there is always a return, a coming back to ordinary awareness. The overwhelming energy of the archetypal realm gradually recedes. The profound sense of connection to the symbolic feminine softens, and the familiar boundaries of the conscious ego, the I that navigates everyday life, begin to reassert themselves. This return from a state of vulnerability and expansion is rarely smooth or simple. It is a process of integration, of piecing together the many layers of experience that have been stirred. It explains the complex and sometimes contradictory feelings that can follow moments of intimacy. Returning to oneself after touching something so vast and profound can feel disorienting. The landing back in everyday reality can vary widely depending on the person, the relationship, and the moment itself. For some, this return brings a deep sense of love and connection. When the experience feels complete and the unconscious projections are met with care, empathy, and presence, the feeling of merging does not vanish entirely. There remains a lingering sense of closeness, as though the walls separating two people have been permanently lowered just slightly. A gentle warmth persists, along with gratitude for the shared vulnerability. It is a profound affirmation, a recognition of being fully seen and accepted in a moment of utter defenselessness. Such experiences can forge lasting bonds, strengthening relationships not only in the moment, but in the quiet clarity of ordinary life. Yet the same vulnerability that allows for deep connection can also bring discomfort and unease. For some, the ego may feel threatened or even shaken by the intensity of the unconscious forces that have been stirred. Having one's sense of self temporarily stripped away can be frightening. Feelings of exposure, defenselessness, or even shame may arise. The ego, seeking to restore a sense of safety and control, can interpret the surrender as weakness, as a loss that must be counterbalanced. This is why a man might suddenly withdraw, become quiet, or appear irritable after profound intimacy. His mind is struggling to reconcile the enormous energy of the unconscious with the familiar rhythms of daily life. This reaction is so common it has been given a name: postcoital tristesse, the sadness or melancholia that can follow sexual release. It is not a sign that something has gone wrong. Often it is a natural and necessary psychological process. After the ego has dissolved and expanded to such a degree, it requires time to reclaim its boundaries and integrate the experience. The retreat into solitude is the psyche's way of processing the encounter, slowly returning from the heights or depths it has just explored. It is quiet, reflective, and introspective, a gentle folding back into the self. It is crucial to recognize that this distance is rarely about the partner. Instead, it is an internal recalibration, the personal work of reassembling the self after it has been opened so completely. These experiences exist along a vast spectrum. Not every intimate encounter taps into such profound depths. Some moments may remain primarily physical, joyful, or connective, without stirring archetypal currents. Others may reach deeply into the spiritual or symbolic, becoming transformative events. The range of a man's response depends on countless factors. The depth of the relationship, his psychological history, his capacity for vulnerability at that moment, and his unconscious readiness to confront these powerful inner forces. There is no single correct way to experience these feelings. The human psyche is too intricate for such rules. The beauty of this spectrum lies in embracing it fully, from the simple, joyful, and playful to the profound, transformative, and sacred. Viewing these moments through a Jungian lens reveals them as far more than biological acts. In their fullest expression, they trace a journey through the layers of the psyche. It begins with the personal surrender of the ego, a letting go of the carefully maintained self. It then moves into a relational space, a confrontation with the inner feminine, the anima, where connection with a partner becomes symbolic of something deeper within. Finally, in its most expansive form, the experience can touch the archetypal, a fleeting yet awe-inspiring encounter with the creator archetype, linking personal acts to the universal mystery of life and creation. Understanding this depth does more than satisfy intellectual curiosity. It provides a framework for the often confusing, sometimes contradictory waves of emotion that follow intimacy. From joy and bliss to withdrawal and reflection, these responses are neither random nor meaningless. They are the psyche's way of processing an event that is simultaneously physical, psychological, and symbolic. Sex, in this view, is not simply an act between two bodies. It is the convergence of two inner universes, each with its conscious histories, unconscious landscapes, myths, fears, hopes, and archetypes. When two people come together in this way, they are encountering not just each other, but the totality of their inner worlds. Ultimately, this exploration seeks to illuminate the hidden currents that shape human relationships and connection. These are the forces that govern not only intimacy, but also our experiences of trust, vulnerability, creativity, and emotional resonance. By understanding them, we gain insight into the profound depth of human connection. We are curious about your reflections. Does this perspective resonate with your own experiences? Have you ever sensed these deeper layers at work in your relationships, in the way you connect with someone, or in your own intimate moments? We invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights are what turn this into a living conversation. If this journey into the hidden dimensions of the psyche has intrigued you, consider subscribing for more explorations of Jungian psychology and the unseen architecture of human experience. Let us know which Jungian concept you would like us to explore next. Together, we can continue unraveling the subtle forces that shape the way we love, relate, and exist. This expanded version now reads seamlessly as the final chapter of your script. It slightly refines the language, increases the depth of explanation, keeps everything in simple, poetic English, and naturally connects to the previous sections. The full 3-part script is now well over 25,000 characters, making it comprehensive, immersive, and ready for narration or video production.